right, good morning and welcome to another edition of the newspaper review here on Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio station, powered by the Diocese of Lagos, Anglican Communion. And don't forget to like and follow us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook is at Lagoon Radio Nigeria, on Instagram and Twitter is at Lagoonradio.Ng, and you can also listen via our website on www.LagoonRadio.Ng. My name is Taiwo Adeola Shabuligbe, and I have with me in the studio Olabisi Simidele. Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we're doing the newspaper review together. In no particular order, we have the Nigerian Tribune, the Leadership, This Day, Blueprint, Authority, the New Telegraph, National Economy, Nigerian Pilot, Daily Independent, Hadassah Midweek, because today is Wednesday, This Nigeria, Daily Champion, People's Daily. I think that we'll try as much as possible to cover all these papers this morning. I'll be starting with the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. At the top of the paper, we'll see AKT 2022. PDP aspirants battle for 1,200 delegates as party holds primaries today. You can read up on that on page 30. Electoral Act. Reps agree with Senate finally add consensus option. You can read that on page 2. Transparency International ranks Nigeria 154 out of 180 countries. You can find out more on that on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. To sustain subsidy, federal government proposes 18 months delay for PIA. And the writer to it says NAS will amend PIA to reflect new position. It's ploy by APC to fund 2023 polls, says PDP. Ruling party failed to fulfill promise to build refineries. Expert divided over suspension on removal. Labour suspends planned nationwide protest. All of this you can read on pages 2 and pages 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. If people should take it easy on us on top this 2023 election.
Don't roast us.
I pray it doesn't end with a coup. We'll keep praying.
No.
In Jesus' name, it's going to be a peaceful one.
Sure.
Yes, we stand with Christ. Also on the paper, for 11th year, Dangote named African richest person, Rabiu Adenuga top list. You can read up on page 30. Governor election, Oyetola formally received nomination form. Also on page 30. CBN retains benchmark interest rate at 11.5%. That's on page 7. Burkina Faso, UN, US, Macron, others call for Kabori's release. This you can read up on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Afenifere to international community prevail on Nigerian Benin Republic to release Igboho. Still on the matter, you find out and you read more on page 27. How I discovered Rivers aircraft abandoned in Germany, says Wiki. You can read up on page 28 of the paper. The aircraft has been missing since 2012, and now it has been found. You might want to read up on that on page 28. And of course, on the front page, you have picture there with the Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State presenting a portrait of Oyo State logo to the President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina.
All right, on to the leadership paper. Still on Dangote, as it retains Africa's richest person with $13.9 billion value. You can get that on page 25. And as soon as I actually saw this headline, I was like, how did he do that? How did he retain that? You know, if you want to know the secret, just go to page 25 of the leadership papers. As a military kills ISWAP terrorists in Borno airstrike, that's on page 9 of the leadership papers. NESG disagrees with federal government over 4.2% economic growth forecast for 2022, as the Nigerian Economy Summit Group has projected that in the they've projected that in the best case scenario, the Nigerian economy will grow by 3.2% in 2022, lower than the federal government's 4.2% forecast for the year and 3.3% by 2024. For the full details, check page 8 of the leadership papers. And NAS passes electoral bill with direct, indirect consensus options. Also on page 8, I think page 8 of the leadership papers it has a lot to check out. CBN retains MPR at 11.5% around parameters. That's on to page 27 and boldly written at the front page of the leadership papers. PMB booby traps, next president extends PIE implementation by 18 months, and the riders to that says from the stakeholders that delay will erode investor confidence. Decision hasty without stakeholders' input, says OPS, as NLC suspends planned protest. Lawan wants for smuggling stemmed. You can get all of that on page 7 of the leadership papers. And on to page 9, Omicron, Saudi to lift travel ban on Nigeria. Get that on page 9. And lastly, on the leadership papers, I'm taking you to page 10. Tension in Katsina local government area over soldiers' withdrawal. You can get all of that on page 10 of the leadership papers.
All right, moving on to this day newspaper at the very top. At last, Senate House pass amended electoral bill. And the writer to read says, okay, direct, indirect consensus primaries for parties, stipulate conditions for consensus, propose legislation to be transmitted to Buhari in 7 days. All of this you can find on page 10 of the paper. Emefiele foredoses monetary policy tightening to boost recovery and stimulate growth. You can read up on page 5 on this day newspaper. President directs security agencies to use 5G tech to tackle insecurity. Pardon. You can read up on page 10 of this day newspaper. Major headline there says Buhari defers subsidy removal to incoming government. And the writer tweet says 18 month suspension to send PIA amendment to National Assembly. And the rest of that you can read up on page 30 of this day newspaper. Okay, seeking special agro funding from AFDB. That's on the front page. We see a picture of
All right, I'll be taking this from the authority papers. Buhari directs operatives to use 5G network to fight insecurity. Get out on page 16. Thumbs up for NYSC as Diary commissions schemes museum. That's on page 4, and I think that's actually a very good one. Get the details on page 4 of the authority papers. The federal government full subsidy will last another 18 months. That's on page 7 of the authority papers. And I think in the previous papers, that these day papers that says that Buhari has actually deferred the full subsidy removal to the next government, right? Okay, so that's the next 18 months. Okay, looks kind of promising, and we actually wish the next government yeah, and we actually wish the next government to look into that and do something that would actually be of a great value and benefit. Always,
next government.
That's what I'm saying. The next government should actually make it worthwhile and make the masses. Let it be of a good advantage to the masses.
By mouth alone.
Exactly, like by actions. You know what I mean. Okay. IPOB says to Army, ESN, not militants, cannibals. Get that on page 6 of the authority papers. War against corruption. Nigeria sinks deeper, ranks 154 on corruption perception index, says TI. And right after that says now second most corrupt country in West Africa as ICPC folds report. And moving down, presidency NAS delaying takeoff of 2023 electoral processes, says INEC. Get the why on page 6 of the authority papers. CBN retaining MPR at 11%, and Dangote, I think that's taking the is taking a bulk of most of our papers. And UN to soldiers release Burkina Faso president, others held captive. United Nations has actually said that to soldiers to release Burkina Faso president and others held captive. That'll be all on the Authority paper.
All right, we're taking the Blueprint newspaper. Dangote tops Forbes 2022 African richest list. Yes, data privacy. Federal government begins probes of digital loan providers on page 23. Persecution of Boko Haram insurgents resumes soon, says Malami. That's on page 8. Insecurity. Northeast must rise from ashes of destruction, says Zulum. Rolls out 25-year master plan. Whose colleague governors? Also, collaboration needed to achieve net objective, says Sadia Farouk. All of this you can get on page 6 of the Blueprint paper. CBN retains lending rate at 11.5%, page 22. Petroleum Industry Act. Buhari shift fuel subsidy removal to successor July 2023. I don't know. It's like it's trying to step down.
Yeah, seems so. Because, from every of your statement, right from the full subsidy that the next government would actually take over that and all that. Maybe we never can tell.
Down, fine.
Yeah, if he's actually not contesting again.
You should not mislead people with his statement if he's not stepping down.
No, the thing about politics.
Some people are happy now. It's true.
No, the thing about politics in Nigeria, just wait for actions. Just wait for actions. Don't. I'm not saying. I don't hope too much on what is being said. Just wait for the actions. Really, that's actually my personal, should I say, decision anyway. So I don't. I believe in actions than words. So that it is what it is.
Okay. So the writer to that one says to seek NAS approval. NLC suspends plan nationwide strike. Fuel subsidy, inflation, electioneering to drive 2022 economic policies. All of this you can get on page 22. And of course, you check on page 6 as well. Electoral bill, House, Senate concur on consensus, page 7. Lawan assures Buhari's assent. Kidnappers killed my 8-year-old daughter after collecting 3 million ransom. Says Zaria residents. This you can read up on page 15. It's a sad one. UK abolishes COVID-19 tests for vaccinated travelers. You can read up on page 14. Osun 2022, Oyetola set to recontest. Receives EOL nomination forms. You can read up on page 7. Digital economy to add $88 billion. Create 3 million jobs in 10 years, says federal government. You can read and find out on page 22 of the Blueprint newspaper.
All right, this is from the New Telegraph. IMF retains Nigeria's growth forecast for 2022 at 2.7%, as the International Monetary Fund has actually kept Nigeria's growth forecast for 2022 unchanged at 2.7%, but raised the 2023 projections for the country from 2.4% to 2.7%. And that's the fund's latest World Economic Outlook report, which was released yesterday. You can get the full details on page 3 of the New Telegraph papers. Nigeria ranks 5th place worse on 2021 Corruption Perception Index. You can get that on page 6 and page 8 of the New Telegraph papers. 2023 Northern Coalition backs IAM's presidential bid. You can get the full details on page 3 of the New Telegraph papers. Still on 2023, Afenifere says we are forming a political party. That's on page 8 of the New Telegraph papers. As Buhari proposes 18-month policy extension on subsidy removal, it rules out gradual price increase. A Senate mobilizes security agencies against food smugglers. As policies, custom, immigration, DSS, NSCDC seeks tighter border surveillance. And this is bringing it to the NLC as they suspend their planned nationwide protest. 2023, we are awaiting Bello's declaration. You can get that on page 27. Who is awaiting Bello's declaration? The full details on page 27 of the New Telegraph papers. Senate House passed harmonized electoral bill, provide for direct, indirect consensus primaries. Political parties must follow law or miss out in polls, says Lawan, as the House says why we concord with Senate on consensus option. You want to know the why? You can get all the details you want on page 4 of the New Telegraph papers. On COVID-19, UK cancels testing for vaccinated travelers from February 11. That'll be all on the New Telegraph papers.
All right, because today is Wednesday, I'll move on to Al Jazeera midweek. Jailbreaks head to role in correctional service. The writer to it says Deputy Controller Generals, others affected. Fears across the country over rising attacks. Unease over poor staff welfare and overcrowding. Nababa waiting for minister's response. Incident higher under Aregbe Shola. All of this you can read up on page 7. Malami urges transparency in judiciary spending. The story is right there. You can continue reading on page 11. Corruption index. Nigeria ranks 154 out of 180 countries. The story is there. You can check page 11 as well. On editorial there, we have disturbing dimensions of fuel subsidy palaver. Page 3 of the midweek Al Jazeera. Still on the paper, suspension of subsidy removal victory for workers and masses, says NLC. The story is there. You can continue reading on page 10 of the paper. Still on the paper, INEC withholds workers' allowance over failure to submit election materials. You can read up on page 4. Niger, ISWAP terrorist dislodged from Kanji National Park. You can check page 6 for that. And of course, on Parliament, Senate re-amends electoral bill to define mode of primaries, page 31. And in business news, CBN warns against borrowing money from loan sharks. You can read out on page 25. Do we have loan sharks in Nigeria? I listen to them in movies. That's all on Jazeera midweek.
Yeah, this is from the Nigerian pilot. Each bar confiscates 1,906 bottles of alcoholic drinks in Jigawa. That's on page 8 of the Nigerian pilot. And the NDDC board now. And the writers to that says tension brews in Niger Delta region over non-constitution of NDDC board. Stakeholders, CSOs give Buhari 2 months to act on their demand or face their anger. Wow. Insists rules establishing NDDC as a statutory body must be respected, and they wonder why commission will stay this long without a board in place. Can get all of that on page 8 of the Nigerian pilot paper. Buhari directs operatives to fight insecurity using 5G network as court orders police Obiano to dismantle all roadblocks in Anambra State. That's on page 9 of the Nigerian pilot papers. JAMB rejects NAPTEB AL as the entry requirement into tertiary institutions. That's on page 6 of the Nigerian pilot papers. As the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria customs clash over alleged security breach at Lagos Airport. I think we actually read that yesterday, and to me, it's a very bad thing. The rule is rule. You must follow the rule. No one is above the law, so you must follow the. You must obey the law.
That those that make the rule are the ones breaking.
That the rule breakers, and which shouldn't be. So 2022, we're still in the new year. We want positive change and lead by example. possible as well. Okay, CBN retains lending rate at 11.5% to stem inflation. That'll be all on Nigerian pilot papers.
All right, so because of our time, we're going to take this one and we call it a wrap. This Nigeria, after 10 years, UK traces abandoned aircraft to German factory. That's on page 7. Rep Senate align on consensus candidate in amended Electoral Act Bill, page 6. Subsidy storm. Federal government shifts removal date by 24 months. And the writer tweet says, denies fear of 2023 election behind decision. Says no fuel increment for now. Labour suspends January 27 nationwide protest. All of this you can get on page 4. Missing BVAs. INEC withholds allowances of 630 ad hoc workers. Okay. You'll find out on page 12. Navy arrest 81 foreign smugglers. 7 stowaways in 4 months. This you can read up on page 10 of the paper. Should we call it around? Trying to come up paper.
Maybe we should just take the last paper, and that's the Daily Champion. Buhari judiciary investigates alleged 11.4 billion naira fraudulent contract by court officials. Wow, 11.4 billion naira. Yeah. That's on page 2 of the Daily Champions paper. And this is to the 2023 presidential election. Makinde urges Nigerians to vote right, says energetic leaders will better lot of citizens. Energetic leaders. I think I actually key into that. Can get out on page 7 of the Daily Champion papers. If you want to know the criteria for the energetic leader, move to page 7 of the Daily Champion papers. Corruption. Nigeria drops 5 places to 154 in a latest TI's ranking. Now second most corrupt nation in Africa as ICPC faults data sources. Senate intensifies corruption fight with witness protection bill. All on page 6 of the Daily Champion papers. We've not recorded any death associated with COVID-19 vaccination, says NPHCDA. That's on page 7 of the Daily Champion papers. As Sanwo-Olu Tinubu mourns as ex-Lagos SSG Princess Aderele dies at 74. May her soul rest in peace. Oshun Guba Oyetola receives expression of intention nomination forms obtained by political associate on page 3 of the Daily Champions paper. Ebonyi government declares Linus Okore wanted over statement on Facebook. Okay, and lastly, kudos to Governor Wike of Rivers State, how we discovered Rivers aircraft secretly abandoned in Germany. Want to know how? Move to page 4 of the Daily Champion papers.
All right, thank you very much for being a part of the newspaper review, which comes up every day from 9:30 to 10 a.m. here on Lagoon Radio, your one and only gospel radio station powered by the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion. Don't forget to also like and follow us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook is at Lagoon Radio Nigeria. On Instagram and Twitter is at Lagoonradio.Ng. My name is Taiwo Adela Shabiolegbe, and on this note I say good morning.
Good morning. My name is Olabisi Simidele. Okay, to have a blessed, pleasant, nice, glorious day ahead.
Bye.
This is Lagoon Radio.